Hey, this is Rusty Walker with NASRC. I'm sitting with some really cool guys, RUI, and I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to let Kurt start. We're going to kind of talk about how we ended up in refrigeration and how this is a fairly cool trade. So, Kurt, go ahead and get started.
All right. Well, my story is a night of drinking.
I love any story that starts out that way.
Night of drinking, 22 years old, just having fun with two of my best friends. One of them I'm still friends with today. It's been 30-something years we've been best friends. But I remember they were getting ready to go somewhere, and I don't remember what I was doing, but I came out and like, where are you guys going? And they said, well, we're going to go down to San Joaquin Valley College, and we're going to sign up for HVACR. And I'm like...
Where were you living at the time?
In Bakersfield, California.
Oh, Bakersfield, all right.
Yeah. So I had no idea what HVACR was. I never heard of it, right? So I'm like, what's HVACR? And they're like, well, it's air conditioning. So, okay. Didn't know anything about refrigeration, air conditioning, nothing. I think I worked at a brakes. I did brakes, built brakes and stuff like that at that time. And most of my career was a chef before I did any of that. So I was like, okay. So I followed them down there. I remember going in and talking to like a counselor or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they explained everything to me. I didn't speak to anybody about, a student loan or anything like that. And I signed up and took on a student loan, and started going to college. I had no idea what it was. It was just a, vocational school, like 16 months or something like that. Well, I did good in the school. Didn't go very much. I would always leave class halftime and we would go drink at the bars or whatever, Wasn't very much into it. I did get a job because I found out my wife at the time was pregnant. So
that's a motivator.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm doing air conditioning. Maybe I try to get an air conditioning job. So I did. I got an air conditioning job with a company. They did residential, light commercial HVAC. Got this job with this guy and worked with him for about a year. It was right when September 11th happened.
Oh, damn.
I remember I came in the office one day and September 11th happened. So yeah, it was around that time. Well, he started paying me with cash. And I started getting, kind of, what's going on here?
Kind of a bad vibe.
Yeah, I didn't realize, like, I don't think you're supposed to be paying your employees with cash, So that's when I started in my head going, something's going on. So I went to a birthday party that night, and I remember getting a phone call, and a guy was asking me questions about how to troubleshoot fan motor and stuff like that on it was a train system. And I was walking him through it. Well, two guys, I didn't know who these guys were at the time, but two guys that were there worked for Hussman.
Oh, cool.
And they heard me talking and giving tech support, and then they came up and talked to me and said, hey, man, like, how long you been doing what you're doing? And I said, about a year now. And they said, you understand like that already? Like, you can already talk to people through, situations like that? I said, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm pretty mechanically inclined, So they asked me if I wanted a job interview. I told them, sure. I didn't know what Hussman was at the time. So they asked, hey, tomorrow do you want to meet us at a store? It was a Foodsco. And we'll walk you through a motor room and show you what we do. So I said, sure. So I met the guy. I'm still good friends with one of them now. He was my journeyman. We're still really close. He walked me through the store, and I was blown away, right, to see all the piping and compressors, and I had no idea. And I remember getting intimidated. I was like, man, I'm never going to be able to do this, dude. I'm probably going to fail and get fired. That's the things that were going through my head at the time. Well, I got a job interview. I met one of the higher ups for Hussman, and I remember seeing other guys there at the interview, right? Younger guys and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't know there was going to be all these people, right? I'm not going to get the job, So I was the last one. And he walked up to me and we talked and stuff, and he asked me some questions. I answered them the best I could, whatever I could understand. And that's when I got the call like 2 days later that they were going to give me the job.
Cool.
Well, I found out that the two journeymen at the time put in the good word for me, you know, and really wanted me aboard. So I got the job with Hussman. You know, I remember getting my van and the uniforms, and I'm like, dude, I work for Hussman.
And you thought you were big time.
Yeah, I
now.
was like, man, I am like somebody, you know what I mean? And you go to the parts houses, everybody's like, oh, Hussman, oh, yeah, Hussman's here, you know? And I was like, that's right, I'm Hussman, man. Well, then it was interesting, had a lot of fun. I still talk to the journeyman today, and we laugh all the time, all the things that we went through, you know, like together and stuff like.
War stories.
Oh, man, I remember store down, I'm an apprentice, 2 years in, completely dead silent, 3 o'clock in the morning. I call him and I'm like, hey, man, I need your help. And he said, you're going to have to figure it out yourself, bud. And I was like, what? Okay. So I remember I'm going to this rack room in the back, in the dark, in an alley, in the bad part of town, you know what I mean? I mean, there was rats the size of Datsuns, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like sketched, you know, it's dark, you know, I'm 23, 24 years old, and I'm like, dude, this is sketchy, right? You know? I remember going over the rack, it was an old Hill Phoenix rack, and it was at a Food for Less. And I'm like, figure out the problem, get the store back online. I see at the corner of my eye at the door, right? I see some flash like that, and I'm like, what the heck was that? You know what I mean? What the heck was that, man? Then I see his head pop in, he's all smiling. And I'm like, first I'm upset. I'm like, you son of a bitch, you know, you left me. Like, you let me hang, right? And he came up and put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, yeah, but what'd you figure out, bud? Man, you're right. You know what I mean? I was like, you're right.
Tough love.
Yeah. I mean, these guys taught me like, they taught me like, you're gonna fend for yourself. You're gonna learn how to do it, right? He made me read the books, quizzed me all the time. We had another kid. He was a young guy, journeyman. His name was Chris Schrader. He owns his own company now. It's called Schrader Mechanical. Does ammonia and stuff. Like, the dude was always sharp, right? He very good at EMS at a young age. Very wild. I remember he was very wild, you know, and we would always butt heads, me, him, and Alfonso. I used to have to stand back because these two guys would be going at it like about expansion valves and stuff, right? And I'm like, I don't know. You know, I don't know what it is. So I remember they put me on call. I started like learning things on my own. I started, I got with an old timer. I can't remember his name, but at this point he was, you know, already getting ready to retire. And we did a Costco 688, and I helped him do the startup. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, man, like startups, man, like you're going to see this from the beginning to the end. You know, and I'm like, wow, like you learn so much more, right? When you put all the pieces
Startup's
together.
the best place to learn, I think.
Yeah, beginning to the end, you know? You see where it goes to where it ends. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Well, I got upset because I was an apprentice, of course, and I was on call. Well, the service manager at the time called Alfonso, my journeyman, and was like, when I was in the van with him, you know, and said, I remember, why in the hell is that kid on call? Da-da-da-da-da, he shouldn't be on call. You know, he's only been doing it for, you know, 2 years and this and that. Well, Alfonso stuck up for me and said, yeah, but he's capable. I mean, he makes it happen, right? We don't have any issues with him. Do you ever have any issues with him? He said, no. So that, for some reason, why bugged me. So a few more years went by. I was there for probably about 5 years. Went by and that would happen all the time. So one day I was just driving, man, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done. I turned around, I went where Alfonso was, and I walked in the motor room, and he was working on a compressor. I remember he turned and looked at me, and I just went, I'm done. He goes, what? I'm done. So he goes, I'm done too. And I'm like, what? Really? I said, no, man, yeah, I'm telling you to hire. Like, he goes, no, I'm done too. Hold on a second. Makes a phone call. Yeah, me and Kurt need an interview. Yep. Okay, cool. Tomorrow? All right, perfect. So I interviewed with A&J. Because I did work with A&J. I did work with A&J for a brief period. before I did the last stint here, but I worked for a company, A&J, for about a year. And in that year, they turned me on as a journeyman. So I turned out as a journeyman. I stayed with them for a year. Really wasn't what I wanted, right? It was just strictly service, repairs. I wanted to do startups. Okay. So that's when I was approached by Source Refrigeration, and they were doing Winco 32. And they asked if, I wanted to come work for them and do this startup on this store. That was my first job for them. Sure. Me and Alfonso. I was sure. So I went and I did startup for Winco. And we did this startup. Well, then they started building more Wincos. Winco 61, all these other Wincos and stuff. And I'm like, heck yeah, dude, I get to do startups. I was excited, man. I was like, man, I'm going to do startups. So I started doing startups. That's all I did. I traveled. I did Wincos. Then they came at me with the second Super Target in California. They said, yeah, the first one was a challenge. So-and-so, I remember they spewed it to me, right? They're all, so-and-so did it. It was in Apple Valley down in L.A. He did it in this amount of time. Was just giving it to me, right? And I said, oh, okay. He goes, yeah, so if, you ran into any issues, you can just give him a call. And I was like, I ain't calling nobody.
Not calling nobody.
I'm going to figure this out myself, right? Not only did I do it, I did it 2 weeks faster and no issues, right? So I was like, yeah, dude. So then at this point, I'm young. I started getting a lot of calls, and the upper up started talking about me and stuff like that. And then I started doing I did like Food for Lesses, Super Walmarts. I started doing Super Walmarts. I did, and then going through all these accounts, I did Fresh and Easies. Mm-hmm. I started doing Fresh and Easies. Then right in the middle of when Fresh and Easies were getting really big, I had a falling out with Source, the company I worked for. So I remember sitting in the parking lot at a Super Walmart, the last one I was doing, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done. So I got a job interview with American, which is they're pretty big in the valley.
Yeah, they're down around Visalia.
Visalia and all that. So they were doing Fresh and Easies. Well, they wanted me to go and do Fresh and Easies for them. So I said, okay. So I went, worked for them. I took a pay cut at that time. Wasn't too happy about it, but whatever. Wasn't really in the money at that point. I was just doing it because I love doing the startups, It was one of those things like, oh, look at me, I'm the startup guy. You know what I mean? I'm a startup guy, So I went and worked for them. I did 2 Fresh and Easies startups at the exact same time, right?
Oh, shit.
Just to prove myself. And they were like, nobody. They were like, oh, you couldn't do it. And at this time, this company, Southwest, was around.
Oh, yeah.
So Southwest was doing them too. Chris Archuleta. Mm-hmm. Remember Chris?
Yeah.
So I remember I did these 2 startups. Well, one of them was with Southwest because they didn't have a startup guy, but their construction guys were there. Mm-hmm. So I would run, I'm not kidding you, from, it was Napa Valley to Pleasanton. Mm-hmm. Oh. I would run from Napa Valley to Pleasanton like this, doing an actual startup on brand new stores at the same exact time.
Wow.
Well, then I got really good in with Southwest. They're like, hey, man, you want to work for me? You want to come work for me and stuff? And I would joke with them and laugh with them and stuff like that. Well, they started subbing me out. American started subbing me out. So here I am as an American service tech working with Southwest guys doing startups. I would stay in, they had a condo. I would stay in the condo with them. You know what I mean? And work with them like they were my crew, And that's when I first met Chris Archuleta. And we'd go out to dinner and stuff, and everybody, and my boss and their boss, and they would all go back and forth like, oh, we're going to hire Kurt and this and that. We're going to give him a job. And he's all, no, I got him a new truck. And I looked down and go, care about that stupid truck? You kidding me? But I remember they would always be like, nah, he's not gonna go work for you, man. So I met Chris Archuleta, and we had like a little short battle going on because they would give him crap like, hey, you better get your tool bag back on because, you know, Kurt's doing these stores a lot faster and he's doing it with less issues, you know, this and that. And because Chris was really good and they were just giving him a hard time, right? Because Chris was sharp. And I remember they would give him a hard time and stuff, and then we'd have this little battle, right? And then we would knock all these stores out because we had this little battle. Who's better? Who's faster? Who's better? Who's faster? You know? So we did that for a lot of years. And then at this point, I went through my second divorce.
Yeah, that's one of the bad parts about refrigeration.
Yeah, horrible. Yep.
Gotta have 3 wives.
Well, second divorce.
I feel cheated. I only had one.
Yeah, after 2, I was done. So that's when I went for a very brief period and worked for Climatech down in LA, and that was Bill Valenzuela. Mm-hmm. Bill Valenzuela opened up this company called Climatech. He was the construction director for Source. Right? So I was really close with Bill. So I went to go work for him, and it lasted a few months because they were paying me $50 an hour, guaranteed 50 hours a week. I wouldn't even run service calls. I was sitting at home in a brand new van getting paid that. And I told Bill, I think I ran a couple one service call, 2 service calls down in LA and then back. And I'm like, I called him. I said, Bill, this is not right. I can't do this to you, man. This is not cool, you know? So he's like, oh, I appreciate that, Kurt. So we both called Bill Whiten back, which is A&J, called him back. And I went back to work for him. And I stayed there for 12 years.
Oh, A&J for 12 years?
Yeah, 12
cool.
years. I was there for 12 years. I ran the whole west side of the state. So I had myself and I had 8 guys. And I ran, I think we had like 89 stores between the 8 of us or something like that. Yeah, so I ran that for them. And then stayed and I've been... Good thing is I've been married ever since when I stopped traveling and doing startups. So been married about 15 years now, ever since I stopped traveling all over, you know, being Mr. Gung-Ho, you know. I miss those days, you know, because those days were the days where it's not like now, you know. Those days where you learned a lot more, you know, because there's a lot more new stores being built, you know, and a lot more opportunity, I feel, back then than now. Now it's mostly maintaining, you know, some remodels here and there. You will get occasionally some new stores, you know, but nothing.
You know, that's fixing to change with CO2 and some of the stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be Katie bar the door again.
Oh, it's going to be, yeah. And we actually talked about that. And I told a lot of the guys, I said, you guys, it's going to change again. I've been through it, you know, 26 years now I've been doing this. So I've seen it. I've seen the highs, the lows, the gung-hos, the slow times, you know, but it's going to change. It has to change, right? Society's changing. We all know it is, you know.
Technology's changing.
Right. The one thing I will say about this trade, and it's like I always tell everybody, is it's been good to me. You know what I mean? It's been good to my family. Every single one of my kids have always been supported by me because this job allowed me and provided that for me. You know, my wife doesn't have to work, never has, stays at home, raises the kids, you know, pretty good life. You know, I know you can go anywhere. I've been offered jobs all over the U.S. I've been offered a job in Ireland.
I might have taken that one.
Yeah, well, I had babies then, and now at this point, yeah, I should have, you know. But no, it's been good. I recommend the trade, you know, because I've never had, you know, I think I've filled out one application in 26 years, you know.
Yeah, once you got a rep, you just call somebody and you're at work.
Yeah, you have a van, you know, vehicle the next day making money, you know. There was no downtimes, nothing.
Just change T-shirts.
Yeah.
All right, Kurt, man, I appreciate that. We're going to switch over to Big Al, and he's going to give us his story.
All right, so I'm Al, and
Al, you got a last name?
Camacho.
Okay.
Yeah, I got into this trade. I was in high school when they had the HVAC program, and I started my junior year because my shop teacher asked me what was I going to do when I got out of school.
And you're 17, he wants you to know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, man. I'm just chasing chicks right now, you know, and having a good time. And, well, he told me, you know, just take this HVAC class. They're only going to have this course for the last 2 years. And you'll get certified with an EPA. And then after that, you can do whatever you want, you know. So he was just kind of looking out for me. He was a really cool teacher, really cool shop teacher that I looked up to. So I took his advice, signed up for the class, started going to class at 6 in the morning. And I was wondering, like, what the hell am I doing here at 6 in the morning, man, you know? And
In high school.
Yep, in high school. Mm-hmm. And I remember I got approached. This is probably about like 6 months into the course. A guy came to our class and said, "Hey, does anyone here want a job?" And I remember like looking around, and I noticed most of the kids that were in that class were just going there for college credit. You know, they were all probably going to college, you know. And I remember raising my hand and like, oh, dude, I'll take a job, you know. I never had a job yet. And so he says, all right, get a ride to Disneyland tomorrow, you know. And I'm in my head, I'm just like,
Tomorrow.
what the hell am I doing? What am I going to go to Disneyland for, dude? You know? And he tells me, he's like, just get dropped off by Disneyland. Our shop's right next to Disneyland. And just get there when you get off of school. I'll wait for you. And I remember at the time, I was like, dude, my mom works 3 jobs. There's no way in hell I'm getting a ride over there. And he's like, just tell one of your buddies to give you a ride down there. We'll pay their gas. I was like, all right, cool. So I asked a buddy, and I got a buddy to give me a ride down to Anaheim. That was probably about 40 miles from Torrance, basically. And as we're driving down there, my buddy had a 94 Silverado, so that thing was a gas guzzler. You know? We're driving down there, we're looking at the gas tank, we're looking at the road, and he's like, dude, this guy better pay for my gas, bro. And I remember telling him, like, if he doesn't, we'll just jump him, dude. Who cares, you know? We'll just jack the dude, we'll take his car, you know? And I just remember he pulls up, and I see the company. The guy gave me his card, so we pull up, and the guy meets us outside, you know. And right when I see him, he goes, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he just throws me a pair of keys, and it was to a '99 Astro van. Yeah, full seats, everything in there, you know. And my buddy comes up, and he's like, "Dude, you got a car, bro?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah, man." And the guy's like, "Hey,
Yeah, man.
here's your card." And I'm like, "What's this?" And he's like, "It's a gas card." And I go, "What, dude? A gas card?" He goes, "Yeah, man. You get gas, you get a car." Yeah, and I'm 17, and you know, my life was basically breakfast burritos and surfing. That was it, you know. And so I let him know, like, "Hey, dude, is it cool if I, go surfing in the car?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course you can. Don't worry about that. That's fine. All I need you to do is we're gonna send all the packages to your house, and after school you're just gonna drive around LA, Hollywood, the Valley. You might go as far as San Diego, dropping parts off the technicians."
Oh, very cool.
No way.
Yeah. So still at this point, I only was going through theory stuff.
Did he pay your buddy's gas when I went?
Yes. Yeah. So I gassed up my buddy with the gas card, you know, so it was all good. And then I remember at the time, my buddy's like, "Hey, can I get a job too?" And the guy was like, "Did you go to the HVAC class?" And he goes, "No." And he goes, "Well, then I can't give you a job," you know. So, fast forward, I go, I think it was on a Thursday or something like that. So pretty busy day. This was around, I want to say it was close to like my summer. So it was around June. And I went to my first store, it was Pasadena. And I remember driving in there to go deliver parts to 2 techs that were there, and they were changing a compressor at the time. And when I got there, the guy says, "Hey, can you help us out? We need a case de-iced." I didn't even know what the hell that meant, you know? So I was just like, yeah, whatever I need to do to de-ice, you know? So I go out, go to the sales floor. The guy gives me a water hose, and he's like, "Yeah, just spray it until all the ice is gone off this coil." You know, and I was like, "Okay." I did that, finished up, and then after that, dropped off the parts, and I went home. That next day, my boss called me and said, "Hey, do you want to help out on the weekends?" You know, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't care." He said, "But you can't tell work, or you can't tell school." That's what he told me. You can't tell school, because back then, I don't know if it's still the same now, but you can only work 20 hours as a student, as a high school student. And so the deal was, when I help out on the weekends, I was going to get cash on the side, basically.
Cash money.
Yeah, cash money. I don't want to say any names because I don't want to get in trouble, because I know these guys are all still in the field and they're in the trade and they're pretty high bosses up there, you know. And so yeah, my boss, what he did for me was he set up a safe at our shop. So back then you used to have to fill out your paperwork, and then you take it in on a Sunday, drop it off in a drop basket, and then someone picks it up from payroll, calculates your time, pays you on your paycheck. Well, I would go in there, and only me and my service manager had the code to this safe. And every Sunday I'd open it up, and there'd be an envelope full of cash right there. And I remember it was a hot weekend, and I happened to help out Saturday and Sunday. And at 17, when I went and got my first envelope, it was about $1,000 to $1,200 in there.
Dang.
And 17-year-old.
17 years old,
that's
man.
money.
So the first thing I'm thinking is, dude, I'm gonna have the dopest stereo system, man. It's gonna be so sweet.
An Astro van?
Yeah, no. The Astro van was already cool. That was good. And yeah, so from that point on, you know, I remember calling him and saying, "Hey, dude, I think you made a mistake. Is this like money for someone else?" And he's like, "No, that's for you, man. That's for you, for your help." And all I thought to myself was like, dude, if this is the kind of money that you can make doing this, there's no need to sell drugs or anything, man. Like you win. Yeah, that was it. I was winning already. So, yeah, man. I remember that next 2 years was great. I was making a lot of money, and then they were paying me for those next 2 years. He paid me cash every weekend that I would help.
Wow.
And dude was a stand-up guy. I met a lot of really cool people. So it was funny, man, because, you know, I'm 17 and I got 17-year-old friends, right? And everyone knows how you were at 17.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, I'm making friends with like 40, 50-year-old dudes that like got their life together. They're taking me out on boats on the weekends. We're going to steak dinners, you know. I'm going to their kids' quinceañeras, and they're like, dude, you're like the same age as my kid, you know? And I go, I know.
They're secretly mentoring
Yeah.
you and showing you the better life, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. And I remember when I turned 18, we had to go to Vegas to do work. And I remember I went to Vegas, did work at 18, and these dudes took me out. You know, they were like, "Hey, just wear your uniform because you look older, and we'll just go out to the casinos." And I remember we went out, partied, drank. I'm only 18 years old, you know, and I get to experience this, you know, even though it's illegal. Shit, it's fun to me, you know. I'm not telling on anybody.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then on my way back home, they're like, "Hey, we're going to take you to another spot too." And we're driving back home, and these guys took me to Mexico for my 18th birthday too.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, I'm not going to get into the Mexico trip, but it was fun. You know? Yeah. Shout out to Vic. Yeah, so, you know, after that, I did in high school. I was a pretty good athlete in high school. You know, I did every sport: wrestling, football. I did a little bit of track, baseball, and I exceeded pretty well in football. So I got a full ride scholarship to university. And when I got there, the one thing that, you know, I didn't like was that I was already used to having a good time while I was already 17 and 18. So when I got there, you know, that fun kind of stopped, and then I stopped making money. And when you make money, and then you don't make money, it's a big difference. You know?
That is not cool.
Yeah, and I didn't save money, so having money was just nice because it was like nice. Like, and then another thing is back then, anyone that had a job that I went to school with, they would get paid every 2 weeks, and I got paid every week. So that was like a really big difference. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
For a long time, I was already making more money than like my mom, you know, at 17 years old, and she was already established at her jobs, you know, and so I kind of got discouraged from playing, and I told my dad, like, hey man, I'm probably gonna quit. I want to go back to making money. At the time, it was all about making money, but I actually liked the trade, you know. My first supervisor, he was real big on fundamentals, really big on fundamentals. He always told me, before you even touch anything in a store, we would go into any motor room and he would give me a book, like a college ruled book, and he would say, just draw the piping diagram. Then he would go do a service call. He's like, I'm going to give you however long we're here, I just want you to draw a piping diagram. Draw every single component on that piping diagram, make it anatomically correct. So if the discharge line's coming out and it's going to the side of a separator, I better see that thing going into the side of the separator. Coming out of the top, it better be coming out of the top of that separator.
Very cool. I did that.
So for 2 years working under him, he just made me draw piping diagrams. So to this day in LA, I still have people calling me looking at things from like 2000, 2003 to whatever year, and they're like, dude, we still have all your piping diagrams. You know?
Cool.
Yeah.
It's in logbooks all over LA.
That's cool.
I can guarantee you that, you know.
That's cool.
And
Legacy, right?
Yeah.
and
That is cool.
this taught me a lot of stuff, because he said, hey, you know what I want you to do? I want you to just go through everything, and I want you to write every single stamp tag on every single valve in here. And then, so I did that. I would write down, this is an A8 valve, this is an A9, this is an LPRV, everything mechanical. He just wanted me to be he was training me to be a good mechanic.
A
basically.
detail-oriented
Yeah,
mechanic.
he goes, I don't give a damn about what any of these computers do. I don't care how advanced they are. You need to learn how the mechanics work and what the state of refrigerant is, what the pressures are,
Amen.
what the system is doing mechanically. Because if you can't even do that, and then you expect to be good with that computer, you're gonna fail basically. You're gonna be one of those guys that's just gonna parts change. But if you can mechanically understand how the system works, it's gonna take you very far.
Yeah, that's the difference between a parts changer and a technician.
Oh yeah, yeah. I heavily believe that. So,
Yes, 100%.
you know, fast forward, I quit college. I came back, got a job back again with my original company, and man, I got into service, and I was pretty much ready, man, for service. You know, and by that time I was already about 19, 20 years old. And throughout that whole time, you know, I was basically going through my own apprenticeship. You know, it wasn't a union shop, but I basically went through a great apprenticeship just being around all these really, really talented guys on the field, you know, really great mechanics. And I remember when I came in, I started doing really, really well in the field. I started fixing a lot of things. I started going on callbacks and fixing things, you know, and
Other people's callbacks.
other people's callbacks.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of other people's callbacks. But people, you know, and the one thing about my boss, or my supervisor at the time would always tell me, he goes, you know what, man, even if someone is telling you something and you know it's wrong, don't call them out. Just kind of to their face, like, okay, just agree a little bit, because what they see in you is that you're just a little kid.
Yeah.
If these guys are 40 years in the trade, 20 years in the trade, no matter how good you are, he told me this. He said, you're just a zit on the world's ass. That's what he told me. Yeah, he told me that right there. So he says, you know what? Just take whatever they have to say. Just, you know, keep your ego pushed down. And then eventually you'll get that call. You go in there, you do what you need to do. You don't need to call anybody out. Whenever you fix something, you could just write down exactly what you did.
That's great advice,
Yeah.
man. I wish we'd do more of that, right?
Yeah, and if eventually, if those people or those guys or those techs, whoever it is, are doing the wrong thing, it's going to stand out eventually, and you won't have to take any blame for it. you know?
Right.
It's just that simple. You know? Just
So
do your
true.
job. Yeah, just do your job, do it right, and
That's great advice.
yeah, and you'll see how far you go in this life,
Fantastic.
actually. And you know,
How long you been in the trade now?
I started in '98. You know, I was just a driver in '98. You know, in '99.
But you're still
really.
exposed to it.
Yeah, I was very exposed to it.
The same exact many years.
Yeah. So really starting in, I'd say about 2003 when I
really?
actually started doing full service.
Yeah.
You know, and then same thing. I knew like what Kurt was saying before. I know all the companies he's talking about because I worked for some of them. And at the time, you know, I didn't like only go, even though I'm going to different places every day. I got at a point I was like, man, I'm getting tired of going to these damn stores.
Yeah.
So I actually shot over to Southwest. I worked for Greg Herr.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for Greg, and this was about 2008
Yeah.
during the economy crash. So it was probably the worst time for me to probably quit my
Yeah.
job. You know? I was like, shit, man, I can't believe I did that. And but you know, they picked me up, and one thing about my supervisor told me, you know, he said, man, you don't own your reputation. Your reputation is owned by other people.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, you can only work on your character, and you can only get good at your craft, but your reputation is owned by other people.
Dude, that is seriously heavy, man.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, so you know, I took that pretty serious, you know, and I was like, all right, man, I'm just gonna just shut my mouth. I'm gonna do my job. They're paying me to do my job. That's all I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna tell them what I find. They can either believe it or not, but this is how I'm gonna project myself this way as a service tech.
Oh, very cool.
You know, and yeah, so I worked at Southwest for a couple years, met good people. I remember my first mess up, man, like the biggest fuck up I think I could have ever done. It was at a Whole Foods in Long Beach, Seal Beach.
Oh,
And,
dude, I've been to that store.
yeah, you know which one I'm talking about.
I
There.
do.
So it was E2. Everything was E2 in there. Everything was CPC, all the boards.
Yeah.
And I got there. I had a blown control fuse, and it was 120 volts. And I remember, you know, instead of killing the power, pulling the fuse, what I did was I took the main power wire and I just disconnected it so I can pull the fuse. So I had two needle nose in my hand, and I had the fuse on like a cart next to me that I was gonna put in. So I'm holding the main power line coming in. I go to reach and I let go of the damn wire,
Oh, no.
and it pop, and the wire shoots and it hits the 24 volt circuit for all the boards.
Oh, damn.
And I look over and I see a whole daisy chain go boom, 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 boom. Everything fried, man. I fried 2 E2s. I fried every board, which was probably about, I think there was, I want to say there was, I think like 20 boards or something like that. Condenser board, everything, right?
Oh my.
The whole motor room just goes quiet. Quiet. And it's like, I'm scared now because I'm like, dude, I did that, man, you know? And, man, my buddy Dean, and, you know, I called him up and I was like, hey, dude, I told him what I did, explained to him, and what sucked was he was going on vacation. And he was like, you know what, I'll just have my family leave and then I'll come help you. And he was like, just give me a number of boards that are down. And I gave him the number. Luckily, we had the exact amount of everything at our shop at Southwest. And Dean comes out, starting to put all the boards back on. I actually took a 9-volt battery for the 0 to 10 volt signal for the
Yeah.
condensers,
And
and I just hooked it up, and I
Yeah.
got the condenser fans running that way.
Nice, that's good.
Yeah, and Dean comes over. He starts programming everything, backing everything up, and you know, dumping in the new E2s and, ironing out all the kinks that come into it. And then it finally comes time and we get the rack back up and running, right? But nothing's turning on. I'm like, man, what the hell's going on with this thing, man? And I think my brain was hazy. And we finally got everything up and running, and my rack kept shutting down on oil. So I did what most guys did at the time. I took a hammer to the separator, and I started hammering the bottom of the separator, right? Which does nothing.
Oh, because the stuff's settled.
Yeah. So, the little plug on the bottom of the separator?
Yeah.
I smacked the separator one last time, and I break that, and all the gas starts blowing out of the rack now. It sucked, man. Yeah. I'm just giving you guys my war story so you know the worst stuff, man. And so I knocked that. The whole motor room engulfs in smoke, and at this point, Whole Foods is closed, so it's just me, Dean, and then the two managers at the store, and they're waiting for us to finish. And when they see the smoke come out, we all had to get out of the motor room, right?
Oh man.
I go in there, full smoke. I put my shirt over my face. I started valving off all the discharge lines, As I'm inhaling all this dust off, I'm basically, I'm thinking to myself, like, I deserve this, man. I'm so bad, dude. This sucks, man. So, I finally got all the compressors valved off. We go outside. I'm just kind of getting some fresh air back in my lungs. Mm-hmm. Things start settling down. Dean looks at me. He goes, I know there's a separator float at the bottom separator at the shop. I'm gonna go pick it up. I think Dean just didn't want to look at my face anymore.
He needed to drive off.
Yeah, because not only did I mess up electrically, but I messed up mechanically now. And Dean's sitting here like, dude, what the
He's
hell?
like,
Man?
I should have went on a damn vacation.
That was his family.
Yeah, so the most I can do for him after he came back, we got everything up and running.
Big time.
Racks up and running. All the cases are down to temp. I could see in Dean's eyes, he's exhausted, and it's all my fault, man. And the only thing I could do for him at like 3 a.m. is buy him some Denny's,
Oh yeah. Couldn't even buy him a beer, man.
Yeah, I know, that's it. That's all we had was Denny's, man. So I got him a lumberjack slam.
But you know what the cool part of that story is?
Yeah.
And you said it too when he came to help you but didn't tell you he was helping you. Right. He was one of the things I think is coolest about this trade is we're a small community of dudes, right?
Right.
We may rag each other and ride each other, but we're going to help each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think we ever feel alone on that, right?
No,
No,
never.
I will say no. I've never had.
So that's pretty cool. And now you're up here at RUI in Tacoma?
Out here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
My wife and I moved here about 8 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to try something different.
Get out of LA, maybe.
We did want to get out of LA. We miss our family and friends and everything, but we did make a bunch when we came out here. Yeah. And it's been great.
And it piggybacks on what Kurt said too. Once you learn this trade, where do you want to live? It's up to you.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Really
you want to go to St. Louis? You want to go to Oklahoma? You want to go to Portland?
Man.
We can go anywhere, right?
Opportunities
everywhere. Yeah, you can go. I've been working in refrigeration in Venezuela and Italy, India. So it's where we want to go.
Yeah.
Very cool, Al. I really appreciate it. I love the war story about how you jacked it up. Man, it was perfect.
reliving it again,
Yeah, you go home and dream about it tonight.
Dream a nightmare.
All right,
Have a lumberjack slam for dinner.
Kenton, let's go with you, man.
Yeah, my name's Kenton Shoemaker. I grew up in the Midwest. I was born in Canada. All around farmland. That's all it was. You looked around.
What part of Canada?
Saskatchewan.
Oh, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
So you played hockey or you farmed. That was it. And I did a little bit of both. But so all my friends and everything, from a young age, we're learning to take things apart, lawnmower engines, and put things back together. And then as I'm getting older, we moved to the States, and I find out because we don't have hockey down here too well. So I started playing football. I'm fairly good at football, and So I'm like going on that path. Like I think I'm gonna go play in college, go that way. And well, what am I gonna do in college? Well, okay, well I'll teach. Be the high school teacher, and, coach football and all that.
Yeah.
And so at one point they thought I was smart enough and gave me a scholarship. But my senior year I broke my arm pretty bad and didn't play. So I ended up going to a small school in Ohio. And while I was there, I did track and rugby and all that fun stuff. And then car breaks down, and I'm a poor college student, so I learned to fix my car.
Right.
And you're finding random tools from friends and stuff to fix your car.
Right.
And then the economy, as I'm graduating college, the economy took the downturn. In the
2008?
2010 is when I graduated.
Oh, okay.
And your choice was work in a coal mine or sell drugs, really, or be on welfare. That's really it.
Yeah.
And I decided, and I walked into all 4 recruiting stations and said, well, where and when can I go? And I ended up settling with the Marine Corps and joined the Marine Corps, and they taught me how to be a mechanic with them too. So I did heavy equipment work, so bulldozers, cranes, forklifts, graders, even the howitzers, because they've got hydraulics on them. We got to work on.
Wow.
Did 4 years with them. Came time to re-enlist. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to drop down to the reserves. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll go back to school at this point now that I have the GI Bill. And I was just like trying to find a job. I was like, I don't want to work with my hands anymore. I've been doing this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Took a desk job, and that lasted about 6 months.
Yeah.
Because it was, everything I've done is you get your work done, and then there's more work.
Right.
I would get my office job done. I'd finish my work. There was nothing to do, and what do I do?
Right.
Oh, we'll sit on Facebook. Like,
Yeah.
there's like 3 or 4 hours where I'm just sitting there on Facebook. It's nice, like the first day or two, but
Right.
Gets old.
you're bored.
Right.
So then just Googling jobs out there, tried to get into with the local mechanics union for heavy equipment. They're backlogged still. So there was a small resi company that was looking for apprentices for their apprenticeship.
Right.
Jumped in, took advantage of it, walked in, and of course I have all my certifications from the Marine Corps and all this stuff, and they're like, oh, we've never had someone so educated. And go in there, I think it's going to be really cool. First thing I work on is an electric furnace. And it's like, I'm bored out of my mind.
Right.
I'm like, and then it's not even being a mechanic, it's selling stuff. And I'm just like, this is stupid. And I make it through 2 years, because then I start learning more and more. I'm learning gas and learning install, I'm learning all this other stuff, and it pays fairly well. And it's by chance that my buddy, his girlfriend at the time, her friend couldn't play a softball game, so he went and played for him, and met one of the service managers from McDonnell Miller. And he got talking about what he does and everything, and it was kind of we were all thinking about leaving this company, and I was thinking about re-enlisting because getting shot at was better than, working resi.
Right.
And my buddy, he comes over, he works for RUI, he gets hired for RUI.
Where were you living at this time?
Kent, Washington here.
Oh, so you'd already
Yeah.
moved to Washington?
Yeah, I came out here and I joined the reserve unit out here in Washington.
Oh, okay. So after you got out of the Corps.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then he shows me his first paycheck for working 1 week out of town doing construction for reefer.
Right.
And I was like, that's what I'm making in a month. Okay, we're go down to the hall, and I go down to the hall and take all the tests and everything, and they call me back up 2 weeks later, and they're like, well, we got a HVAC contractor who wants you. Okay, so I go interview with them. Everything was great. I get hired on with them, working with them, and again, walk into the machine room with giant chiller, and just like, I'm never gonna understand this. Like, I'm gonna kill myself before I do anything like this cool. And and then learning the controls and just seeing all this stuff, and it's just like crazy to go from small electric furnace to these giant building
Massive chillers.
Yeah. And then COVID happened, and all my accounts shut down. All the buildings shut down. No one was going to work anymore. and one of my classmates was working at RUI too, and they got me over here because we had just picked up a Rite Aid, and no one really did HVAC over here. We did mostly reefer. So I came over to start doing HVAC on the package units and stuff, and then as I started doing that, started learning the refrigeration side of it, and then just getting more and more into it, and just finding more and more, and finding out like this job sucks sometimes, and money's great, but it's the challenge of trying to figure out that problem. And
Do
trying
you
to
find that one of the best things about this is always trying to figure the problem?
Yeah, because my wife will be like, "Why the hell are you doing this?" Like I'm like, well, you don't understand. Like,
Why the hell are you doing that?
well, because like so, I'll get phone calls like Kurt does and Alan does here, and you're getting someone call you up and say, "Hey, I'm here. This is what I'm seeing," and then you're like, "Okay, would you check this? Can you check this?" And then, I didn't think about that. And where you're the one who can figure that out. Or even when I call up another technician and we're spitballing back ideas like, it could be this. It couldn't be that because of this.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. It's that brain exercise. And you're just like trying
That is one of the coolest things when you're talking to each other and the guy goes, no, it could be that. And no, it could. Oh, yeah. That is absolutely.
Or, I've already checked that. I've done this. And like, okay, well, then you're on the right path. Or
I feel like it's actually helped me in life too. Actually, it's made
absolutely,
me smarter in life. Really, it has. You know what I mean?
Problem solving.
Yeah, problem solving.
Oh yeah, no, it's just that it's a challenge of like, because otherwise, money's great, but if you're just doing this for the money, it's gonna burn out.
Oh yeah.
It's
good point.
But I love what I do. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So
Recommend it?
oh yeah, I would, especially if you want to have a problem and figure it out.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. So you worked in an office job, right?
Yeah.
Going to the same place every day, seeing the same people?
I had 2 offices and I dealt with different people all the time, but yeah, it was just
Boring.
Yeah, you'd be there at 8 to 5, 8 to 4, and just like waiting for the clock.
Place,
You're just waiting. Yeah, just watching
and
the clock.
day goes forever when you're sitting looking at the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. That's a good. And you've been in trade how long?
So I did 2 years resi, 2 years HVAC, commercial HVAC, and then I'm going on 5 years here at RUI. So about 10 years.
Okay, I need to correct something. All 3 of you have said wrong. You guys keep saying HVAC and R.
Yeah.
Negative. From this point forward, it's R.
Yep.
HVAC. I'm tired of being the redheaded stepchild. It's time. We belong on top, yes or no?
That's right.
Yeah, all right, so from now on, everybody agree?
Yes.
All right, cool.
I gotta go.
All right, man, appreciate you.
All right. Hey.
Mr. Anthony, let's go, brother.
Okay. My name is Tony Medina. I first got into the trade, I believe it was 2006, and I was my sister, who's a year older than me. She was office manager for a residential heating air conditioning company.
Oh, very cool.
And so I think I was around 21, maybe 22, when I finally took the idea that my dad was pounding in my head my whole upbringing. So I was raised in a household. My mother and my father split when I was a young age. And so my mother was a single mother raising myself and my older sister. My mother got remarried when I was probably around 8 or so to my stepfather, who is he's the man of my life to this day.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And he told me at a young age to learn a trade. Learn a trade.
He didn't care which one, just learn a trade.
When you're done with the lights, turn the lights off. If you don't use the water so much, learn a trade. And I'm thinking, who is this guy? I don't know what he's talking about. I don't even know what a trade is. So years go by, and I'm between 13 and 15, and those were very exciting times for me. Started going against what stepfather was showing me and telling me. And he was still telling me to learn a trade. By the time I was 15, I was doing pretty darn bad in high school. I wasn't getting any passing grades. I was running around and trying different things and tasting this and trying that. So basically, by the time I was 15, I moved here. I moved to Washington, to Tacoma,
From
Washington.
where?
Victorville, California.
Oh, California.
Yeah.
I love you guys, California. Failing of California, man.
As I was living here, I finished my high school out here. It took me 6 years to finally graduate. I went to
At least you made it, right?
5 different high schools in 2 different states. And while I was living here with my grandparents, I still talked to my mom, my stepdad, and he was still telling me, I hope you're learning a trade. I hope you're thinking about your future, and and we'd love to have you home. I said, all right. But I realized I didn't really have any authority figure. I was grandparents' little angel, and I was just figuring out life on my own. And then I think I was about 17. I met the woman of my life, who I'm still with today.
Oh, wow. Cool.
We met. 17. We were both high schoolers. We met, started dating. Although I knew in my heart I wanted to go back home. I wanted to go back to California to be with my family, my friends, and get back to where I left off. Because at this point I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser, but I'm still just about 17.
Still a lot to learn.
Yeah. Still a lot to learn. But I'm having too much fun right now.
Right.
And although my folks are calling me home, I'm saying, no, I'll visit you in the summer, but I'm going to come back because I got things going on. I got this girl I met, and I knew she was different. I knew she was special. So fast forward a few years, we dated for 6 years, and then I said, okay, I want a future with you. I got to learn a trade that my dad's been telling me for years. So I had a plan to talk with my wife's parents and tell them my plan, get their blessing for marriage.
Oh, very cool. Very
so
old school.
they basically said, okay, what's your plan? I said, okay, I'm gonna move to California, and I'm going to work at air conditioning company that my sister works at. I'm going to go to Victor Valley Community College, see what I can learn. And by this time, I'm about 21. And I was working some jobs that were just, there was no future in them. They were dead-end jobs.
Just paychecks.
Labor intense.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, at this rate, I'm going nowhere kind of fast. Now, let me think back about what I've been getting told by wiser individuals to learn a trade, think about your future. I said, okay. And every time I go back to visit my family, I would stop at Comfy Air in Hesperia, California. And I visit my sister, and I'd meet her boss, and he was Ukrainian guy, and he would always say, Anthony, when are you going to move back to California and work for me? I need good workers, And so it finally hit me. So I told my wife, or my girlfriend's parents, I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to learn a trade. We'll be engaged for about a year, and then I'm going to come back, marry your daughter, have a wedding, and then move her back with me.
Yeah.
That was the plan. And so I enrolled at Victor Valley Community College, and I was doing some weekend classes as well as evening classes. And then I was going to work and doing some installs, residential. A lot of air conditioning systems, tearing out condensers, putting in new ones, changing out furnace, putting in new ones. A lot of it was attic work. Changing out duct work. And I'm realizing, what am I getting? This is a trade? What this is a trade? But there's a future.
This is a trade.
And I remember looking at the top 20 jobs and occupations in the state of California, and it's doctor, lawyer, and dentists, and then 10 was air conditioning. It was up there.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, what they're telling me and the door that I have open for me, there's potential. As long as I go in there and learn, and stay focused, and do good, let's see what happens. And so, we did all that. So I worked for residential for 3 years, learning enough to do some service calls, hey, you're over there in that side of town, I got a call, can you go check on that? And I would just call my boss or some other seasoned techs, saying, okay, I'm not getting 24 volts here, what do I do? go to your thermostat, check this, check that, and there was always help. And when I'm all done, I act like I fixed it myself, feel like a badass.
I've been there.
But my wife, and my wife, she became very, very homesick. She was born and raised here. She was old-fashioned folks, and we had our first son in California, and she was there with the newborn in the apartment all alone while I'm working all day. She didn't have to work.
Mama's up in Washington.
She's like, okay, after 3 years, she said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going back home with the baby, with or without you.
Oh, damn.
So I'm like, well, I'm learning this trade thing, though, you know. And it's going good, but I've already moved from my family for years. I spent almost 7 years away from my family. So although I went back for 3, I felt like I was in heaven. I felt like this is amazing. But then my wife's like, no, I want to go back home. I need to go back to Seattle. I said, all right. It's easier for me to relocate than for you to stay here and be happy and raise a kid without your folks. And so we moved to Bremerton. We moved to Bremerton, Washington. And her folks were living in Burien, Seattle at that time. So we found a spot in Bremerton. I'm thinking, okay, I'm here. I got to find work. So I had no computer. I don't think the internet was very, very... I didn't have as much access to it. So I'd have the yellow pages.
I remember that.
And I'm writing down heating, air conditioning companies. And then I'm calling a friend back at home. Saying, all right, I need you to put this address in your computer and tell me how to go from my address to find this pork place.
No
so
iPhone.
he was telling me all the directions on how to get to these.
No
so I was
way.
driving all along Bremerton, Port Orchard, and then I started venturing out to Tacoma and dropping off resumes. And I got a call back from an HVAC outfit out of Bremerton, and they were saying, hey, man, I like your resume, you're young. I'm not looking for anybody right now with my HVAC company, but I got a friend who owns a commercial refrigeration company, and they're always looking for somebody. Let me give you his number, you call him, you talk to him. So I called and talked to a guy by the name of George Maida, who owned Maida Mechanical out of Silverdale, Washington. Met up with him. It was him and his son. Their wives were there. I brought my wife and my 2-year-old with me because he's like, yeah, bring your family and let's just meet up at the shop and we'll just talk. And we did nothing different than this. And they were filling me out. I was filling them out. And they said, well, we like you. Do you want to start? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to. So I started doing, we had a handful of grocery stores, supermarkets. There was some Kingston Thriftways, some IGAs. There was
Kind of smaller, a little smaller.
a
store.
little bit.
Mom and pops.
And then
Conventional.
we somehow got, we had about 5 or 6 of the super Walmarts that we were taking care of.
Oh, yeah.
The Red Apples on the peninsula.
Oh, okay.
And so I started off by doing PMs.
Oh,
I'd go
very
down
cool.
with the big man and walk into the compressor room like, oh my.
I think that's our first thought in English.
And he's like, yeah, just clean the
Uh-oh.
condenser. And he was telling me, if you don't know what it is, don't touch it. Don't touch these switches. Don't mess nothing up. Just clean the condenser. Check door gaskets and those checklists. And get amp draws and just my list was to go off, you know. And I remember one of the self-contained units. I'm like, oh, I like these. They're quiet. I can just unplug it. So for about, I don't know, a couple of years or so, I was doing a lot of PMs and getting familiar with accounts and components. And then I started working more with some of the techs and helping them out. And I was just, like you said too, I'm just going to stay quiet. I'm going to stay focused, and I'll talk when I need to, or talk when I'm talked to, and ask questions when there's something that I don't quite understand. So I did that for 8 years, a lot of light commercial stuff, you know, and mom and pa's and restaurants and gas stations. And,
Yeah, restaurants are a great place to learn too.
and I think between that and a little bit of the schooling, I started recognizing stuff from the books and stuff from class. Oh, I see it now. Oh, I see the accumulator. I see the filter dryer. And I started, grasping things.
Lights are starting to come on.
Yes. Eventually worked up to become doing service calls, and then found myself on the on-call rotation. And I remember doing my first rotation, just nervous and scared. Like it said, don't cry. I've cried on job sites. I have.
Between jobs in the truck.
And but when my rotations are over, it's like I did it.
Yes.
I did it.
Yes,
I feel
that's
freaking amazing.
That's what I would do too.
I'm the man.
No,
You know,
What's the
because-
fog in a mirror to fixing something?
yeah, all Kitsap County, I'm the man.
Yeah.
it is cool when you fix it
But
on your own.
I continue to be humbled
Right.
because of mistakes or
Yeah.
things well, they say don't let the smoke out of that. I've let smoke out of stuff. And it's not CO2. But I've always been big on family. My wife, and then I had my second son right after we moved back here. And so those 8 years of doing refrigeration, I missed out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I missed out on a lot of events. My kids' performances, they were highly involved in sports, and I'm thinking, it hurts because I'm working 12 hours, 14 hours, day after
But we
day.
gotta remember somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Somebody had to do it.
I said, okay, I want to enjoy more of my kids' prime moments. These years are very crucial, and because my boss, he's a great individual. The whole crew is, but my kids are the ones who remember. Like, hey, Dad, I remember I did this performance, but only Mom was there. You weren't there. My kids are the only ones who really, remember.
Right,
If I miss things, and so it got to a point where I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna transition back to HVAC.
Oh,
Because I want to be available for my sons.
right. Let's no
And
call.
I'm getting into some hot water with my wife because she's saying, put your 2 weeks notice in, And she was able to stay home for years and raise the kids, because if she wanted to work, we have to pay for the daycare, babysitter, and say, all your money, baby's
Yeah.
gonna go
Yeah.
straight to
Oh,
the
absolutely.
babysitter.
That's
So
a real deal.
why don't you just stay home?
That was real.
and you raise our kids, and I'll go bust my ass as long as I can so that we can make this happen. And it was good because being in this trade, it definitely provided for my family, and it allowed my wife to stay home for some years. But then I remember I was on a job site, and we were doing this 3-story building in Silverdale. It's assisted living, and we were doing all kinds of ductless units, VRF, and I was just running the low volt communications for this whole place, and it was pretty easy, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm pulling fucking wire just for my 4th week. And then there was some refrigeration guys on site, and they were putting the boxes together, and they were piping it. I'm like, oh, fuck those guys.
What do you guys do?
I know what they're doing, right? And then one of my guys had said something to the reefer guys. They were like, hey, you guys want to come over here and do HVAC? And I had an idea what both trades, involved.
They are two different trades, man.
And one of the reefer guys was like, I do HVAC in my sleep. And I'm thinking, what a badass. Yeah. And so I when I went back to HVAC, we did all commercial. And mind you, we did about maybe 20% refrigeration. So I was still involved with, we did Pizza Huts and some Domino's and some smaller accounts.
Yeah, more restaurant.
They're like, all right, Tony, you have a little background. Why don't you go take care of that? So I still was able to play with some refrigeration equipment. But I was setting rooftop units left and right, change out, doing some construction, running reefer piping. And so I was always involved, but
You couldn't. Once we get you, you can't ever get out.
yeah, but something about those guys, I just remember, like, these guys don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking, yeah, these guys said it pretty clear. They could do it in their sleep, because they do stuff that, man, you all fucking can't even handle it. I know you guys can't handle it. I said, okay, my kids are a little bit older now. They're high schoolers, and I'm not saying I can miss out on stuff now, but what I noticed is there was about a handful of guys who worked at AMS, Air Management Solutions out of Bremerton, and about 5 guys that I was on the construction side, and they were on the service side. And so we're putting equipment together, we're swapping stuff out, and they're going doing service calls, compressor changes. And I remember they had probably about a dozen guys on each side, but about 5 of the service guys, in my eyes, they were somebodies, because they were very well spoken, and they were very professional, and they walked and they talked like men, very respectful men.
Yeah.
And they weren't trying to show off. They were just, and I would secretly like look up to them. And any chance I'd get, I talk to them. Hey, how's it going? What are you working on today? Okay. And then I'll go back and we're putting in 40 fucking furnaces. I'm thinking, now all these guys in the construction, they're all talking about stuff that I really don't care about, and they're drawing dicks on the wall. I'm like, right? I've always been non-union. Been non-union, right? Small businesses, small companies, and always felt like I did good. But then, so and so leaves. So, man, where did he go? Oh, he went to an HVAC contractor, part of 32? Okay. Well, he's gone too. Where did he go? McDonald Miller, Local 32. And within like 2 or 3 years, all the 5 guys that I would like look up to,
Gone.
Easily replaced, but not with the same individual who could feel
Right,
the
not the same
shoes.
professionalism.
So I'm like, jokers. What am I doing? Because I've always heard, I got uncles in the union. Growing up, I got ironworker uncles, and they would travel the United States. Sometimes they do big jobs in LA, and they're there for years. But I'm under the assumption, union? No, not me. I want to be home every night. I don't want to travel. I don't want to go out of state.
Yeah. So they call it
union
journey,
dues.
man.
I was very uneducated. I was very ignorant to what it involves, and so when I started seeing individuals that I looked up to making choices, and then they would call me, Tony, we're looking for some guys. What do you think? I mean, a few of those guys came to RUI even, and hey, Tony, blah blah blah. I was, gosh, you guys are onto something. So I started reaching out. Talked to a couple guys at the hall. Like, how does this work? Oh, this is how it works. Okay. Got a hold of Mark, Dave Lowry, who he was part of the onboarding process for me. I had an interview with a luncheon with Mark Morris, and we did a walkthrough at one of these
Mark
stores.
with RUI.
Yes. And come to find out, Mark had worked with my ex-boss, George Maida. They built Albertsons together in the 90s.
Oh, wow, cool.
So when I mentioned when he looked at my resume, he says, oh, you worked at Maida, you know George. So yeah, I love George. And so I think that was, a foot in the door. But I remember Mark taking me down to Winco, Tacoma, off of 72nd. And walking to that machine room, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah. What is this? But interested.
Yeah.
So we were there for about an hour after lunch or so, and he's like, Tony, I can see that, you could be comfortable with this, but I can see that maybe some of it's can be complex to you. So he's like, if you're interested, we'll give you a shot, and we'll see how you can help, because I live on the peninsula, and there's a handful of guys out there, and he says, if we hire you, you'll take care of stuff, local, and you'll stay in the peninsula, you'll be home every night, you're not going out of state, and I'm thinking I was under the misunderstanding, and so I had a hard time making the transition back into this refrigeration world. So I've been back in here for I think 10 months now for RUI.
Okay.
And it's flown by fast. I had a very, very
They got you
humbling
into the interview
experience.
into RUI?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so, it consisted of me about 3 months doing homework, and meeting guys.
Yeah.
And meeting contractors and trying to understand the relationship between, the union and the contractor and Arcticom group and just trying to understand it.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this out. I want to get back into the trade.
It's a whole different world.
It is. And the last 10 months, I definitely, it's my eyes are slowly getting reopened,
Right.
and I think I was like a month into RUI, and Mark called me one day, says, "Hey Tony, I need you to go replace a coil. It's at the shop. Come get it. Go do it." All right, yes sir. He might have said something a little bit more, but yeah. So I come to the shop and get the coil, and I go up to Squim, Safeway, 1448. And make a long story short, pumped down my circuit, isolated it, went back to the, the sandwich case. They make the sandwiches. It's just like, I think, a 6-foot coil.
Yeah.
Go underneath. Oh, changed everything out. I changed the coil. Perfect. Evacuated the coil. And it's going too smooth at this point.
Only refrigeration guys
Under
go.
the case, there was two ball valves. One on the discharge, one on the suction, the liquid and suction. And so I go to open the liquid. Sheared off. The little tiny key sheared off. It was the old one, little small, and I'm under there. No fucking way. I can open the suction, but I have to replace that shutoff valve. So I remember, I don't know what to do. Do I just do it? So I remember calling Mark. Hey, Mark, I got this coil swapped out. Everything's going good, but the turnkey is sheared off the liquid line. But I know what to do, and I just want to let you know I'm gonna get everything I need. Come back tomorrow, I'll take care of it. Well, okay, thanks, Tony. Take care of it. So I'm thinking about it all night. So I pick up ball valve, get everything I need, go back out there, but I believe that I had pumped down the circuit, but basically went under there and started cutting 1/2-inch liquid lines.
Oh no.
And I remember the sushi guy was right here.
He looked at you. You messed up.
And he was just so calm. The day before,
Samurai.
and I'm thinking he's about to flip out now. I run to the back of the store to the machine room, and I'm like, okay, and it's a hot gas defrost. And I got bells everywhere, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Let me close this one. I close all the discharge lines, go back down. It's still coming out. So I called Brian McConnell, FaceTimed him. The first thing out of my mouth was like, Brian, this is an emergency. I just got a liquid line. It's dumping into the store. What do I do? And I'm in the machine room, and I turn my phone around so he can see the piping, I'm like, dude, I got this fucker closed. This fucker's closed. And then all I can see is he's talking to me like, I can't hear nothing. What?
Which one?
What?
And so I'm like, see? He's like, all right. He's like, just relax. See what you can find. I'm on my way. I was like, cool, where you at? Gig Harbor. I'll be there in like an hour and a half. All right, cool. All right. Start from scratch. And mind you, it's and people are already starting to evacuate themselves. Go to customer service, and I told him, tell manager Isaac to meet me in the compressor room.
Please.
And as smooth and as nonchalant, I'm walking and banging through the store fast, and I'm looking, and then so I get up there, and I said, okay, it's liquid line, suction, liquid line, suction, liquid line, suction. And I get to the last, I'm like, hey, this is not a set. And I can see that there used to be a liquid line, but it's been cut, cap,
Yep.
isolated. So I'm like, where's my liquid line for this circuit? And it was all the way on the other side, just before the differential. So I'm like, okay.
It piped off of it.
Yes. And so after I closed it, went down, quiet. I said, okay. It was probably about, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe. Then my heart was just boom, 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 boom. I'm drenched. I remember Isaac came in the machine room as I'm trying to, and he's like, you calling for me? And I didn't know how to say it, but I wanted to get the point across as fast as possible. And I wanted to do everything that was right. I said, yeah, I just cut a line and it was a wrong line and I'm dumping liquid into your store. What's protocol?
Protocols don't do that.
He's like,
And so I basically I'm telling him, do what you need to do, because I know what I need to do. And I shut that valve off and went down, and then I was able to then reflect and just okay, I know what I did. I know what I did. So I think about that just about every service call, and it's left a feeling in me where. It's a crappy feeling. It was just.
We've all got those.
I think we ended up putting like 800 pounds of refrigerant back on.
ooh, wow.
Yeah.
But the one thing we've all made some.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel good about when you told me yours. And I know you all been
You
part
messed
of that,
up more than I did.
So,
I
I tagged it. I put a tag with the arrows. And you follow the arrows, there's another arrow. Like, it's right there for the next guy.
Dude, I did it at Costco. The high side. Stupid dude, this was like a couple years ago too. I know better. Shredder core tool, right? It's leaking.
Yeah.
The shredder core is leaking. Okay. The fucking middle comes out, but the inside stays, bro.
Oh, dude.
Holy crap, dude. Like, okay, Kurt, calm down, bro. Calm down. You know what I mean?
Breathe, bro.
Yeah, breathe. Okay, I got it, but I was like, what the fuck was I thinking, dude? I know better than that. You have those all the time.
To the acorn cap.
So you know all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think
it happens.
I was on that. I was on location, I think, for like 17 hours
Oh,
on
yeah.
site. Just from start to finish. And then I get home and I'm like, hey, Brian said that I'll be able to laugh at this one day, but fuck today. Because I know it was Friday, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I just started. It's not a good sign, and this is going to be a pending conversation with my boss. And how am I supposed to just be at ease all weekend and I'll tell my wife about it? She's like, wow.
Oh shit! Should we move?
Get all the support from the wife, right?
So I call Mark about mid morning that Monday. It was like, hey Mark, I just wanted to touch bases about you, more in depth about the incident that occurred on Friday, and this is what I did, this is what I thought, this is what happened, and he was like, I appreciate the call, Tony. Just know that, take your time, and there's always a way to verify. There's always a test and second test that you can do to confirm. There's no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, and then you can always just get your screw gun. Just get a little screw gun. I know this stuff. How did I just screw up? So I was definitely humbled. And when I saw him face to face, he was like, yeah, I appreciate you calling.
You owned it. Nobody gets in trouble or nothing. And it's one thing I say about this trade that I think you guys have really proven, and it's true. You've mentioned it a couple times. This trade, don't get arrogant. Don't start thinking you know everything, because this trade will humble you quick. Yes? And we've all been there where we go home with our tail between our legs and we're like, oh man, that sucked.
Oh yeah.
It sure did. So I definitely recommend it for somebody who's anybody.
Yeah, and if you want to solve the equation,
anybody who's willing to adapt to crazy hours, to somebody who wants to flex their brain during the day and just exercise their knowledge and the continued
gratification of it.
the gratification I think is cool too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the week, man, I fixed that, that we'll see.
You know?
But it's and so the wise guys they tell me just stay focused, keep your head down, and do your best, and continue to read and continue to learn, and just. And so that's what I'm doing.
All right, gentlemen, I totally appreciate y'all. These are some great stories. I love them. Listen to your stories. I always thought Jelly Roll must have been a refrigeration dude, because when he sings a song, I'm not okay, we've been there, right? I'm not okay right now. All right, gentlemen. I really appreciate all the stuff you've done and the great conversations. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.